Alright, we're on AI here, and what I'm going to get AI to do is I want to get AI to write me the stupidest stories on Earth. Because you can pretty much put anything into this, and it'll be able to write at least a paragraph of what you're trying to say to it. Which is kind of insane. So I want to really test out and see if it is able to respond to the stupid statements that I'm going to provide. So the first one I'm going to do is write me a story about my LED RGB lights not turning on to only realize that the electricity is off due to a power outage, which then the nuclear power plant has no power and it explodes and I get radiation and I'm nearing death on the hospital bed to see my family laughing at me before I die. Okay, let's go. Let's read this stupid story. I can already see this is so stupid. I love it. I love it. Okay, no, that's too long. No, that's too long. That's a too long story. Once upon a time, there was a young man who was the proud owner of LED RGB lights. He spent a lot of money. Yes, I spent $20 on these. And he was excited to show them off to his family. But then when he flipped the switch, nothing happened. The lights wouldn't turn on. He figured out that the electricity was off due to a power outage. He called up the power company. How do you call someone without electricity? What? And said the outage was due to a problem at the local nuclear power plant. Okay, that was different. The young man started to worry. He had had stories of nuclear power plant accidents, so he decided to take a drive. Why did he drive there? When he arrived, he saw that the plant was in chaos. There was smoke coming out of the building, and he was screaming and shouting. He knew something bad was happening. Suddenly, there was an enormous explosion. The force of the blast knocked him to the ground. He set flying debris everywhere. He felt a searing pain in his body and started to feel dizzy. And he got radiation. He had to get to the hospital. It was too late. He laid on the hospital bed. He's weak and bad. He looked around the room. His family gathered around him, but they weren't crying or mourning. This is so cruel. I love it. That is such a plot twist, everybody. His family hates him the whole time. The young man realized he wasn't dying. He was dying, and his family was laughing at him. He felt such a deep sadness, but also a deep sense of peace. He had lived a good life. Oh wow. Oh wow, it's actually a good ending, apparently. Okay, I like the idea of his family not loving him. That's a good idea. Alright. That's a really good idea. Alright. Write me a story about how... Okay, I'm not gonna get suicide into this now, that's too far. About how Bob ran across the road to only get hit by his grandparents' car. When the grandparents came out of the car, they instead laughed at him. Then the sun exploded and a black hole started to form, and the gravity pulled Earth into it, and the sky turned black, and then everyone started to lose their minds, and now they don't know anything. Okay, this is a stupid story, let's go. I love it that the ending is always so cruel. The ending is always so violent, even though it starts off with Bob ran across the road to get hit by his grandparents' car, and then suddenly the whole world explodes. Love it. Alright, once upon a time, why does it always start with that? So lame. There was a boy named Bob. He was always known for being a daredevil. One day, he had the brilliant idea to run across the road without looking, so he did just that. He made it halfway across the street before he heard a loud screeching noise. He looked up and saw his grandparents' car barreling towards him at full speed. Bob froze in fear, knowing that he had no chance of escaping in time. The car slammed into Bob, sending him flying across the street. He landed a thud away. His grandparents got out of the car and ran over to him. Surprisingly, instead of being angry, they started to laugh. Bob was confused and hurt, but he couldn't help but laugh along with the plot twist. Then the sun started to set and the sky was a beautiful orange, but then out of nowhere, the sun exploded and a giant black hole. Plot twist, guys. A black hole started to form. The gravity of the black hole was so strong that it started to pull the Earth inside. Everyone started to panic, but Bob just watched it all. What? The sky turned black. Then something strange started to happen. People started to lose their minds, forgetting who they were, where they're from, and even forgetting how to speak. Bob was scared and confused, not knowing what to do. Yeah, because no one knows anything anymore. The whole world was slowly being destroyed by the black hole, and Bob was powerless to stop it. And then it got sucked into the black hole, and that's it. Yep, that's bad ending. Sad story. Alright. That was a sad story. Right. Me a story. I can't type today. About. What's a really stupid topic? How the government is thinking about changing the capital city from Canberra to Sydney, and how the motorway had a truck which exploded with fuel in it, which burnt down 50 houses before it got to our house, and then our house burnt down, and the fire trucks didn't put out the fire and instead laughed at us while the government was there demanding us money, but we refused, so we went to prison, and then the prison caught fire and exploded, and then we died. Yep, sad ending. Let's go. This is the stupidest thing I've ever written. It went from changing the capital city of Canberra to Sydney to us going to prison. The fact that it can actually write this much. The citizens of Canberra were filled with dread. Why would they? When the government announced their plans to move the capital city from Canberra to Sydney. Why would they, anyways? No one cares about Canberra or Sydney or whatever the capital city is. Canberra is the most boring city in existence. There's nothing there. And the citizens have grown accustomed to the quiet life Canberra had to offer, and the thought of moving to the bustling city of Sydney was quite okay. That's interesting. It knows about how Canberra is so boring. The citizens of Canberra had no idea what was in store for them when the truck transporting fuel exploded on the motorway, causing a huge fire that burned 50 houses before reaching the citizens' home. The fire trucks, who were sent to help put out the fire, did not do their job and instead laughed at the citizens while they watched their homes burn down. The government also arrived on the scene, demanding money from the citizens for their loss. Such an evil government. The citizens refused to pay for the government, so they were arrested and sent to prison. But the troubles didn't end there. The prison too caught fire and exploded, and all the citizens were caught in the fiery blast. The citizens of Canberra never made it alive, and the stories were tragically told. The government's plans to move the capital city from Canberra to Sydney was never realised, and their memory will live on in the hearts of their loved ones. Okay, that's sad. How the fuck did we get from this to that? Alright, how about this story? Write me a story about how the Samsung Galaxy S7 kept exploding, and when I was on a plane that exploded and the plane went down into the ocean. No, let's do this. Plane exploded, but the pilot landed it into the ocean only for the entire plane to be eaten by sharks, but then the sharks caught salmonella and then they died, so we escaped the sharks to realize the ocean was being drained, and then there was no water and we all fell to the bottom where we saw fucking Bikini Bottom. This is so stupid. Oh my god. We went from the Samsung Galaxy S7 exploding to Bikini Bottom in like that short amount of time. Let's go. The world was and then we saw Patrick Star. Hey, I had to include that in about Patrick Star. Thank you. The world was in shock when it was discovered that the S7 had a serious flaw that caused phones to explode. I was flying on a plane from London to Los Angeles when my phone suddenly exploded, causing a huge fire to break out. Passengers were screaming as the plane was beginning to lose altitude. The pilot was able to act quickly and managed to land the plane in the middle of the ocean. The plane was sinking and everyone was panicking. We started to swim away, but then we saw something that made us stop in our tracks. What do you mean stop in your tracks? You're swimming. There's no tracks. Sharks were everywhere, circling us and getting closer and closer. We were scared, but there was nothing we could do. We tried to fight them off, but it was no use. Suddenly, the sharks started to die one by one. We soon discovered that they all caught salmonella poisoning from the phones they had exploded on the plane. The fuck, the sharks caught salmonella from phone? I thought it's from raw meat. We were relieved, but then soon we realized that the ocean was being drained. We could feel the water level dropping and the sharks were gone, leaving us stranded in the middle of the ocean with no way to escape. Just when we thought all hope was lost, we saw a distant light. We swam towards it, but isn't the ocean drained? Then we soon realized we were in the town of Bikini. Oh my god. We were welcomed by none other than Patrick. We were welcomed by none other than Patrick Star. Patrick Star. Hello, welcome to the non-existent town of Bikini Bottom.